What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Monday, the second straight victory Monday for the Tennessee Titans after they go up to Indianapolis and get a big divisional road victory over the Colts, 24-17, the final score. Had a great post-game show yesterday. Buck Rising had a big-time primetime show last night, and we're going to have a big show this morning about this Titans win and how Derrick Henry and Mike Vrabel have different tones when they're talking about this Titans win. So a different meaning to two-tone Titans today with Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry. Big day from Derrick Henry. We'll talk about that more off the top as well. And getting to 2-2, a massive deal for the Titans after the 0-2 starts. The NFL is a jumbled mess right now. And we'll discuss about a lot of these things. So we're going to have a busy week because even though the Titans have won their second straight game, there is still a lot of situations and issues to discuss when it comes to this team and getting better as they go for a third consecutive win against the Washington Commanders on the road this upcoming weekend. But Zach, we're going to go through all of this with Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry video. Then we will find out who laid down the law in the win over the Colts yesterday for the Titans. And then it's Monday. So ask me anything. We'll see what kind of card Zach pulled out of the pile there for our end of show conversation. But Zach, welcome in. Hope you had a good overall weekend. Ole Miss, big win at home. That was nice. Cracked the top 10. Now, hey, when's the last time that our schools have both been in the top 10 the same week?
I mean, never.
Probably never. Probably never.
Maybe when Archie was playing.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but maybe never in the AP top 10. But hey, good weekend.
Feels good.
Right?
Feels good.
Yeah, it feels great. Feels great. But we're gonna have a big show this morning talking Titans.
Yeah, and look, I saw. This is the benefit of everybody that watches on YouTube because we get to see all the YouTube comments before we actually go live. People, they got their binoculars out. They got the search dogs. They're trying to find Hibachi to make sure that he is in the chat today.
It's still within 48 hours, so we cannot file a missing persons claim yet, but we'll figure out if Hibachi's
he's not going to be on the milk jug yet. But we got a lot to talk about after yesterday's initial reaction in our post-game show as we went live. We got a lot to discuss on this Monday morning. We welcome everybody in. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. So that's very, very exciting. We got 3 platforms for you guys. And also we will tweet out segment by segment all of those YouTube links. So follow us at A to Z Sports on our Twitter. We got great content rolling out on all of our platforms. But if you're on YouTube, hit the like button for this video and subscribe. That would help us out and help you out a whole lot as the Titans move to 500, 2-2 after a big win yesterday in Indy. We'll discuss it. And for our Facebook fans, we're on the road to 100K. We're still climbing, but we're inching closer and closer, which is great. How that works and how you guys help us. Bottom left corner of your screen, share now to public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing on this show, as we say. So share the show around. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed, and more people are going to be piling in. You guys need to be sharing the show. So like this video if you're watching right now, and let's get this party started on a Monday.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media as we are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Find links to the show on our Twitter timeline, also on Instagram. And make sure you hit us up on TikTok as well. But we got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they make everything happen and easier for you guys, like Wilson County Hyundai. Check them out in Lebanon for your new ride and make them a part of your new car buying process by going to Lebanon or simply at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. The region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That's better coverage, better rates, and service. FBHP.com/ATOZ. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call them for a free case consultation. 800-800-4600. So, Zach, if you look at the NFL playoff standings, if the playoffs began today, the Titans as the 7 seed would go to Cleveland to face the Browns in the wild card round of the playoffs.
I can't. No
right.
comment.
But
I'm gonna just forget you said that.
All right. But the Titans are now tied atop the AFC South with the Jags after a big win at Indianapolis yesterday. So very important win, 2-2. Jags have the tiebreaker because of the AFC conference record overall right now. But a big deal to get a win first and foremost over division rival on the road too for the Titans, hanging on there 24-17 in Indy.
Yeah, look, no points were scored in the second half by the Tennessee Titans, but 24 were scored in the first half for the second straight week. So, they're doing something right. Their scripted plays are working. And for the fourth straight game, they scored on their opening drive. The Titans defense, we knew going into this season was going to kind of be their fallback. They had the players, and then Harold Landry tears his ACL, and you kind of change your expectations. There's question marks in the secondary, but this defensive front has gotten after the quarterback and disrupted Matt Ryan all day. We talked about stopping Jonathan Taylor, disrupting Matt Ryan. They did both of them. I mean, they really stopped Jonathan Taylor. He was just an average citizen in Sunday's game. But Matt Ryan was disrupted, and I think that was a huge part of this victory, helping the offense for short fields, right? I mean, that always helps the offense. Mm-hmm. And then forcing the Colts to go the full length of the field is never an easy task. And then usually, look, they would move the football. By the stats, they did move the football. But then they get into, the Titans' territory, and something would go wrong. Fourth down fumble or for Jonathan Taylor, you couldn't get the job done. There, Matt Ryan had his fair of hits and pressures. And so I think all of that compiled where we'll hear Mike Vrabel, they got away with a win. And this win is a massive win early in the season. You had this at what, an 8?
Yeah, an 8 importance. As important as a week 4 win could possibly be is what I said last week. An 8 out of 10 importance level, yeah.
So I was at a 7. I moved up to a 7.5 because we did a little bit of the math for the tie thing. Then I moved back down to a 7.25 as we dove a little bit deeper. But regardless if you're a 7, 8, 9, or a 10, it's an important game in the division. And the Titans got out of there with a W, and that's going to help them down the stretch. They got to fix a lot of problems, and I do think that their roster has some concerns. But at 2-2, they've done their job of digging themselves out of the 0-2 hole and not going to 1-3 or 0-4 like some teams. And then they've got the Commanders next week. That is a very winnable game because they're 1-3 and they're not a good football team. I watched that Cowboys-Commanders game yesterday. The Titans should absolutely beat the Commanders if they play the way that they've played in these first halves. But you can't keep doing what you've been doing. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're about to get to some video. I do see some people back and forth in the chat. Caleb and Jameson saying they thought we were going to talk Ryan Tannehill this morning. Look, we had a conversation and a plan set up for this morning's show, but we had to call an audible and do what would be the best, smartest show. And that's what we're going to get into today of Mike Vrabel, Derrick Henry changing and talking tunes. We will discuss Ryan Tannehill most likely tomorrow. There's also Treylon Burks' injury that it could be a massive impact on this roster as well. Bud Dupree left that game with the hip injury again. So there's a lot of different conversations that we're going to have about yesterday's game, tomorrow, and maybe even into Wednesday, especially if we learn any types of updates about Treylon Burks, who was seen in the locker room with a boot and on crutches after the game, according to Teron Davenport.
Well, and I'll tell you why we adjusted is because I mentioned those topics, and we will get to those topics, as Austin said. But yesterday during the postgame show, we didn't hear any of the Vrabel or Derrick Henry postgame audio interviews. And that's what we're going to dive into this morning, because I do think it's telling. Two different leaders of this franchise are singing a little bit different of a tune, and I think we need to react to that. The problems that we brought up yesterday about Tannehill, and that ain't going away in the next couple of days.
No.
They're going to continue to have that. And as you said, Austin, that Treylon Burks, unfortunate, that's that. I don't like truffle, but that's the truffle salt that I'm like, no, thank you for. There's a little sprinkle of that with Treylon Burks. in crutches and a boot, that ain't good from your first-round wide receiver that you replaced A.J. Brown with.
Yeah, and look, and it's not Treylon Burks is not choosing to get hurt. So everybody who wants to come out here and comment on Treylon Burks getting hurt and being soft, like if something's wrong with his foot that looked like it, then that's something that's out of Treylon Burks' control. And some people on the internet don't seem to understand that. I did see, Eric has been talking about Tannehill only having 137 yards, but there was a lot of different things to go into it. So we'll talk about Tannehill as a whole more tomorrow. But we do want to play this video because, look, the biggest conversation about this Titans team right now isn't the fact that they're 2-2 after an 0-2 start. It's the fact that they haven't scored in the second half since week 1. That's the problem. They've gone 3 consecutive games with 0 points in the second half. It's really egregious in how they're unable to do anything offensively in the second half. They've been relying on their defense to make big, timely plays in key moments to help them hang on to wins against the Raiders and the Colts to avoid a second half comeback. And Tron Davenport started off Mike Vrabel's press conference with that line of questioning, and Vrabel wasn't having any of it.
The game 24-17, excited as hell about it.
But you had to withstand a big comeback from them.
That's called the National Football League. Excited to win on the road in the division.
How important, Mike?
So let's hear it one more time from Mike Vrabel.
The game 24-17, excited as hell about it.
But you had to withstand a big comeback from them.
That's called the National Football League. Excited to win on the road in the division.
How important, Mike?
So Mike Vrabel cutting off Tron Davenport with the follow-up question of, you did this again. Vrabel was not having any of that, Zach. How do you feel about Vrabel's comments there?
Well, that's a very Vrabel comment, right? When Vrabel thinks a certain way, that's the way that he is approaching it. I think that you kind of felt that after, if you listen to the full post-game press conference, that was his mindset. That's how he felt. That was what was going to be, the theme of what he was saying. And, look, Mike Vrabel, I think in both instances of what we're going to talk about, both the leaders, Vrabel and Henry, are not incorrect in what they're speaking. They're speaking facts, but I do think that there's a little bit more depth to we just won.
Yes, and so let's play Derrick Henry, who was talking with Fox's Christina Pink on the field after that win in Indianapolis yesterday.
Word for this team might be finish. You guys have started out fast in every game. You get back to 500, but how do you guys finish in the second half?
Yeah, we just got to come out and have the will to go down and put a drive together and go score. I'm pissed off right now that we didn't put points up in the second half. We just got to be better, man. It takes all of us, holding each other accountable, going to put points up. Eventually it's going to catch up to us. It's a hard league, hard to win in this league. As you can see, no points in the second half. We just got to be better overall.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave.
So there's Derrick Henry. 2 different tones from the 2 Titans leaders. So 2-tone Titans right there, Zach. Let's ask everybody in the chat today. Do you feel more like Derrick Henry, where you're pissed off that no points were scored in the second half? Or do you feel more like Mike Vrabel, where you're excited to get a road divisional victory to get the 2-2 against the Indianapolis Colts? Do you feel more like Derrick Henry or more like Mike Vrabel after the Titans beat the Colts yesterday on a Sunday? We'll get to your comments here in a second, but first let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you need to go to somewhere where you can trust them. They have all the resources right there on hand at their state-of-the-art facility in Franklin, Tennessee, at their main campus. They also have satellite clinics in Brentwood, Thompson Station, and in Nolensville. They've got over a dozen doctors who specialize in any type of injury you could possibly think of or even have. So check them out right there, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports are powered by BetMGM. You can download the app today and use the promo code ATOZ Sports. Risk-free bet up to $1,000 plus first touchdown score insurance tonight. You got the Niners and the Rams. Niners wearing those red throwbacks tonight because I'm a jersey freak and I know that. And that's going to be a good NFC West game. So get in on the action. If you're a new user, download the BetMGM app. Use promo code ATOZ Sports, all one word, no spaces, in the promo code tab. You get a risk-free bet for new users. That's BetMGM.
A to Z Sports Live on this Monday. Derrick Henry did run for 114 yards yesterday against the Colts. So everybody today gets a free donut at Fox's Donut Den in Green Hills. I have a 2 p.m. appointment at the Apple Store, Zach, which I'm so excited about. But I also know the Apple Store is right across the street from the Donut Den. So I will be getting a donut from Fox's Donut Den in Green Hills, either before or after my Apple Store appointment. So that's good.
You're ahead of the game. You at least get to get a donut, and I got to find a way to make myself over there because, and then you're going to Apple Store. You know, I had internet problems all last week. I'm going to go see the freaks at Xfinity and return my other modem because I got a new modem. So you're on the good side of things. I'm over in Freak Land. If you've ever been in there, it is a circus.
All right. So do you feel more like Derrick Henry where you're pissed off the Titans didn't score any points in the second half, or more like Mike Vrabel after the Titans beat the Colts? Zach, I'll send you the chat. I see there's over 200 comments since I asked this question. So have fun with that. But where are people saying?
No, I think this is a great question because, look, the first one that I actually saw, it said mixed feelings, right? Yeah. You got mixed feelings, mixed emotions, because both of them aren't right. You got a huge divisional win, but also 0 points in the second half is no good. So who are you riding with? I'm literally still scrolling and have been scrolling this entire time that I've been talking. So I finally up to the top, to be fair. First is first. The King knows from Ryan. Matthew has still been drinking from yesterday, so we hope you sober up. Steven's going with Mike Vrabel. Richter goes with Derrick Henry. Major goes with Derrick Henry. Ryan says, preach, King. That's what a leader is supposed to sound like. Derek from Eric. The King from Steven. Derrick Henry from Grim Jim. Jody says Derrick Henry. Sean says Henry. Joey says Henry. We haven't gotten to Vrabel yet. Caleb says Henry. Apollo says Henry. More like the King from Scott. Henry all day. Absolutely with Henry on this. Oh, Mark D. Mark D is going with more like Vrabel. And so that's the first Vrabel that we've seen. I'm kind of scrolling through because like Jay Bryant, Titan Not Tiger says DH, more like Henry. They're from Eugene the Gyrene. Look, there's more Henrys than I think I have seen. Here's Xavier. Xavier says Vrabes. So we've got a couple of Vrabels, but most of them are Derrick Henry riding with the King. King for president. Unsatisfied. Okay, Roy says, I feel like Vrabel. The Titans won. 15 other teams can't say that. So Roy's going with just straight facts, homie. He's saying, hey, look, the Titans won the football game. That's the most important thing. But this is lopsided. A lot of people feel like Derrick Henry. If we want to play the videos before you answer, but this is one-sided from the chat.
Yeah, well, I think the math is wrong. 17 other teams or 16 other teams can't say that, but the Titans are one of 16 teams that won. But so Zach,
well, you have tonight's game.
Yeah, that's right. You do have tonight's game. So let's go ahead and play the videos once again. Mike Vrabel interrupting Teron Davenport, the first one.
The game 24-17. Excited as hell about it.
But you had to withstand a big comeback from them.
That's called the National Football League. Excited to win on the road in the division.
How important might
I mean,
a little smirk there at the end.
He does seem a little smirk.
The game 24-17. Excited as hell about it.
But you had to withstand a big comeback from them.
That's called the National Football League. Excited to win on the road in the division.
how important might
I mean, just the weird energy of how he cuts off Teron with that will never not make me laugh or make me just kind of roll my eyes of Vrabel being, a typical head coach. But here's Derrick Henry.
Word for this team might be finish. You guys have started out fast in every game. You get back to 500, but how do you guys finish in the second half?
Yeah, we just got to come out and have the will to go down and put a drive together and go score. I'm pissed off right now that we didn't put points up in the second half. We just got to be better, man. It takes all of us, holding each other accountable, wanting to put points up. Eventually it's going to catch up to us. It's a hard league, hard to win in this league. As you can see, no points in the second half. We just got to be better overall.
All right, thanks a lot, Derrick.
So, Zach, who do you side with more, Derrick Henry's response or Mike Vrabel's? I side with Derrick Henry's. And it's not because I'm frustrated or I'm not understanding the big win that the Titans just had, because winning on the road is important. Winning a divisional game is important. Putting the Colts on a 1-2-1 hole is important. And you getting back to 2-2 is massive before you go to Washington with a chance to get to 3-2. But this is a 4-week issue. You have now gone through your first month of games with the same problem. You suck in the second half. You're outscored 64-7 in the second half of games this season. Now, you've hung on to 2 wins that were basically the same game being played, except the Titans defense did not allow a touchdown and to potentially tie there like the Raiders did. I side with Derrick Henry. This is a trait of this football team. That's what I said yesterday in on our postgame show. The Titans' trait is to lay down in the second half and allow their opponent to get back in the game, or lay down in the second half, allow the Bills to run over them. So that's where I'm more with Derrick Henry, because Henry's right. It could happen and they could get burned by this. They got burned by it once already in the New York Giants. So I side more with Derrick Henry here.
Yeah, I think that it's a philosophy. I was a little bit surprised the way that Mike Vrabel answered, some of the questions. Again, he had his theme of the press conference, and that's what it was. But at the end of the day, you can never be satisfied. I mean, I think that is the measure of a good business. I think it's a measure of a company. I think it's a measure of a person. I think it's a measure of a team in sport. And I think it's a coaching philosophy. Look, I don't know what Mike Vrabel said in the locker room, but both did say that it's hard to win in the NFL. Those things are true. But there is always things that you need to clean up. And that has always been my mindset in life. You can never be satisfied. You can never play perfect. Perfection is unattainable. You should strive for perfection, but you will never attain that. You can continue to chase it. And here's the other thing that I think that I heard from Derrick Henry in his tone of voice. I think he's frustrated with this team. I think he realizes that this is not the same team that he's had over the last couple of years. They got a lot of different faces. Him and Tannehill are the same. His left tackle is out for the year. He's got a rookie right tackle. They ran the ball well, better than they had before, but their passing game is bad. They got a bad passing game. And that's something that Derrick Henry, and this is, I think, what we've seen through 4 games, Austin. They've asked Derrick Henry to be more part of this passing game than they ever have before. Mm-hmm. And he's made some mistakes, right? Because they haven't asked him to go 7 yards, turn around and catch the ball, and then turn upfield. He's had some drops because of that. He was working on the sidelines with Tannehill because of that. The reason why is because they don't have anybody else. NWI got blanked. Austin Hooper, not very good in this offense through 4 games. Robert Woods, not targeted once in the second half.
Yeah, and
these are the reasons why you get blanked on the offensive side of the ball through 2 quarters against the Colts.
Yeah, and Austin Hooper only played like 37% of the snaps yesterday, and Chigakonkwo only played 13 snaps on offense, but he caught 3 passes for 30 yards and scored a touchdown and iced the game. I mean, that's pretty good production out of 13 snaps. There's a lot of confusing things when it comes to why the Titans offense is so bad in the second half after being really good in the first quarter and the first half overall over the last 2 weeks. Now, I do want to say Hibachi is nowhere to be found, but props to Big Ten Jeff, who's a Colts fan, for showing up this morning and holding Hibachi accountable. So, I don't know how to solve this yet, but, Mike Vrabel did have another comment later on in the press conference where he circled back on the second half thing, and it does give you a look inside the Titans locker room after the game.
How good is it to get to 500 at this point?
I mean, it feels good. And I told the team before that success in this life means nothing if you don't have people to share it with. And we have a whole bunch of guys in there that should be sharing this. So if you ask them about the second half, I hope they tell you what I told them to tell you. We're excited to win, and we're going to enjoy it, and we're going to get back to work.
So there's Mike Vrabel towards the end of the press conference, looking inside the locker. Look, I agree that you need to be able to celebrate your big wins in the NFL. And, I don't think it's a 24-hour rule, because 24 hours is probably too long. I think it's more of like the 12 to 18-hour rule of celebrating a big win. You wake up Monday morning and you get ready to go back to work and move on to the next game. But like Mike Vrabel just told everybody that he told his players to spew the company line when talking to the media. But guess what? Derrick Henry talked to Christina Pink before he left the field and before he heard the company line from Mike Vrabel. So we got the real Derrick Henry and the real Derrick Henry opinion. And I appreciate that we got that, because everybody who's in the media gets sick and tired, both, not just one, sick and tired of Titans players spewing the rhetoric that Mike Vrabel tells them to spew, because that's Mike Vrabel's job. But it's frustrating to not hear the real opinion. And we actually got Derrick Henry's real opinion on how he feels about the second half.
Yeah, based on that timeline, you're absolutely correct. And I want to hear the real. And that's the frustration from number 22. You can hear it in his voice. You can see it in his body language, looking up. I mean, he literally looked up at the scoreboard and saw 0 under the 3 and 0 under the 4. And he's mad. Look, I don't know what Mike Vrabel said in the locker room, but if it's one of those things is, hey, tell the media that it's tough to win in this league and we got the W and we'll fix things internally. We watch the games, Mike. Like, we're not naive to what's going on. And for the second straight week, you have, and this should not go unsaid, the Titans' first halves are damn near perfect. There was some situational football at the end of the second quarter that could have gotten them to 27 points instead of 24. Mm-hmm. But that is the stuff that can be cleaned up. Like, honestly, Austin, those 3 points can be cleaned up. I don't know if this second half can be cleaned up as much as it needs to, because it has been atrocious. It's been so bad.
Yeah, it has. Now, I do see some people, like Valentino says, like AJ said, no fun over there. Let's replay the Mike Vrabel clip and listen to the entire 29 seconds, guys. It's just 29 seconds. Let's listen to the entirety of it and see if you think this is a no fun situation for Mike Vrabel.
I could have get to 500 at this point.
I mean, it feels good. And I told the team before that success in this life means nothing if you don't have people to share it with. And we have a whole bunch of guys in there that should be sharing this. So if you ask them about the second half, I hope they tell you what I told them to tell you. We're excited to win, and we're going to enjoy it, and we're going to get back to work.
He's literally telling his players to enjoy it and to have fun. like that's what he's doing here, is he's telling them to enjoy and celebrate the win and share it with each other. Yet AJ's out here saying, and look,
I don't believe that. Words, I just don't believe. Like, go have fun. Like, there is a way. I don't think that I'm not saying, I'm separating the conversation. So I'm not sitting here saying, he is no fun, sir. He's all the things that AJ Brown mentioned in Josina Anderson's podcast last week. But I do think that there is a tone that they all know that they played really bad offensively in the second half. And when your coach says, go have fun and enjoy this, Ryan Tannehill, Nicholas Petit-Frere, they can't have any fun because there was mistakes made. And so, like, that I think is one of those things that is said, but it's not truly realized. So I'm seeing through a little bit of that.
All right. So John has a comment, says, Zach, I need you to address the scheme over talent. Second half scoring being essentially a goose egg is embarrassing, and Vrabel spewing rhetoric and evading the problem. So let's discuss that a little bit and try to figure out how we can try to find a solution to the Titans' problems before we get to our laying down the law segment. But Zach, first tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
FBHP.com/A to Z is where to go to get your health plan. 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. I switched my coverage, and I'm really glad that I did at the beginning of this year. You can switch yours by just visiting FBHP.com/A to Z. You take a quick 30 to 25 minute health assessment. They ask you a bunch of questions. You're open and honest with them, and then all of a sudden you get a quote, and you say, whoa, wow, my health plan that you're offering me is a lot better than the one that I currently have. You make the switch like I do, and you start reaping the benefits. Better service, better coverage at a better rate. That better rate saved me 20% each and every month compared to my old plan. You can get on board. That's FBHP.com/ATOZ.
Also, don't forget, download the BetMGM app. And when you do, plug in our code ATOZ Sports when you sign up. And you get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football with your first bet. Also tonight, another NFL game in action. And you can get your first touchdown score insurance as an option to opt in here there for tonight's game. So promo code ATOZ Sports for a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football when you download the BetMGM app. So, what's going on with the Titans? I haven't really been able to dive in yet, but Zach, it seems like it's a mentality thing over a physical thing for me. And so, how can they try to adjust and have a counterpunch to what their game plan is in the first half? That's something that we have to see from them moving forward, or they are going to get burned by this, like Derrick Henry is saying.
Well, I think it's recognized by the chat. Hey, and let's give a little quick golf clap. We all agreed. The chat, you and I all agreed that the Titans should have Derrick Henry's mindset because there's a problem. And that goes into my next point. There's a problem. The overarching problem for this football team is they can't play and perform adequately in the second half. They've given up tons of points in the third quarter. So many points, 64-7, and they're 2-2. So they've escaped by that chin dust I talked about at the postgame show. But 64-7, you are not going to consistently win, and Derrick Henry knows it. I think I took more from that 10 to 15 seconds of Derrick Henry audio than I have from anything else, because it is realized by the best player on the team and the leader of this team is they can't continue to do this or they're going to get got. And they can't get got by the Commanders, because then all of a sudden you're losing to a inferior opponent that you should never lose to on a road that you just earned a huge step in the right direction. The Titans are the defending AFC South champions, correct? Back-to-back years.
Yep.
You've just beaten your probably toughest competition, at least heading into the year, in their barn. The Jags lost after relinquishing a 14-0 lead against Philadelphia and really have not learned how to win. That's going to be a process for Jacksonville. And the Texans are atrocious. They're the worst team in the NFL. So you have that state of where you are, but I do believe that the Titans have some internal problems that they have to fix if they're going to win this division for a third straight year.
Yeah, and look, tomorrow will be a big day about how to fix this, and where's Tannehill in this, where's Todd Downing in all this, and the offensive line. There's a lot of issues, but I do think more credit needs to be given to the Titans defense for coming up so big, because not only did they force the fumble from Jonathan Taylor in the fourth quarter, but then the back-to-back plays by Roger McCreary and Danico Autry to kick them deep out of that, to make that field goal really long at the end of the game there for that attempt to make it a 4-point game was pretty impressive there by the Titans defense. And so the Titans defense has come up big and saved the offense, which I think is leading into Derrick Henry's frustration overall. So we'll have a big show tomorrow about what the problem is and how to fix the problem before going into Washington, because one thing the Titans cannot afford is the same thing that happened last year with the Jets loss. Like, you've already got that. That's the New York Giants. So you cannot have a second one.
Well, does that New York Giants look differently because the New York Football Giants are 3-1?
No.
I think it does.
Who
The
have they beat?
Giants are
Who
not
have they-
great, but
who
the
have they beat,
Giants,
though?
if you've watched, they've played good football. They haven't played great competition. They beat the
Panthers.
Bears yesterday, but the Bears were 2-1.
Yeah,
Then they
but
beat their Panthers. They beat that.
yeah, the Panthers, the Titans, and the Bears, right? So like two of the worst teams in the NFL coming into the season, and then the Titans because of look at this. The Titans are a Randy Bullock missed field goal away from being 3-1 and having all these problems. I think that's the brilliance of the NFL. The NFL did, I think, the best job they've ever done at strategic scheduling to make everybody even October 3rd. Like the Eagles are 4-0, right? Like the Eagles are rolling right now, but everybody has a win minus the Texans. But everybody else, they got a tie.
But
like,
they're the worst team in the NFL,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
but-
sometimes you just can't fix it.
Like the Commanders have a win, the Panthers have a win, the Bears have 2 wins. Like the Giants are 3-1, the Jets have a win. Like all these
Jets won yesterday.
Yeah, all these bottom feeder teams have victories because they had like Jags versus Commanders in week 1, right? And then they put the good teams versus the good teams in week 2 and 3. So somebody's going to have to lose. The Ravens and Bills can't both win against each other, and the Dolphins and Bills can't both win against each other. Like they've never done this good of a job at early scheduling to make it this even. Like so many teams are sitting there within one game of being in the playoffs. And
I think they do that every year. It just
played out better this year.
But that's the genius of the National Football League and the parity. We talk about that one word. That's what this sport has more than any other sport. College football doesn't have it. The major leagues don't have it. They try so hard to have the Los Angeles Angels in the playoffs, and they can't do it because they're no good. So if you talk about all the other sports, the most parity and the most hope to a sports fan is given to a fan of a National Football League team.
Yeah, it is. And they've extended that hope from August into October. They've given you an extra month, unless you're a Texans fan.
And an extra team.
Yes.
The playoff team, the 7th playoff team is a huge factor in this because there's even more hope for those 500 teams deep in the season when they really should have no thought of it, but they do because anything can happen.
Yep, exactly. A to Z Sports, Zach. I just found a stat that will probably lead off tomorrow's show. So I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for tomorrow morning. But let's do this. Let's lay down the law. Who laid down the law for the Titans versus the Colts yesterday in that 24-17 win? I think there's a lot of options here. Who laid down the law for the Titans in that win over the Colts yesterday? But first, let me tell everybody about our sponsor, Hughes & Coleman, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. Hughes & Coleman Injury Lawyers is who you should trust to fight for every dollar you deserve when you've been injured in a car wreck. So, unfortunately, if you have been injured in a car wreck, go to Hughes & Coleman and call them for a free case consultation at 800-800-4600. That's 800-800-4600. They've recovered over $1 billion for their clients across the entire state of Tennessee and in Kentucky. So if you or someone you know, someone you love, has been injured in a car wreck, there's one place to go. That's Hughes & Coleman, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans, for a free case consultation. Call them at 800-800-4600, principal office in Nashville, Tennessee.
A to Z Sports. We're powered by BetMGM, the king of sports books. Download the app today in your Apple or Android store. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports. That's all one word, no spaces in the promo code tab. And for new users, you get a risk-free bet for pro football up to $1,000 plus first touchdown score insurance for tonight. You got a big game tonight in the NFC West. Download the app today and get some action at BetMGM.
All right, so who laid down the law for the Titans in the win over the Colts yesterday? Zach, I'll send you to the chat a bunch of comments flying. I think there's a lot of options. I think there's the most options that we've had so far this young season for laying down the law.
Well, get the toaster ready because we're going to have a lot of Pop-Tarts. Starting off with Darren and Lou Man, Tierre Tart opening up. Chig from Teddy, Tart from Jody, Autry there from David, which is a good vote. Michael says Autry as well. John goes Tart. Defensive line is a unit for Shannon. Autry is from Karen. Let's see, Autry and Tart from Ken. Stonehouse from Ryan. Not Ryan Stonehouse, but he's going Stonehouse, flipping the field right there. Number 22 from Valentino. Henry from Teddy Wap. Offensive line from Tyler. Autry from Yuri. Autry also again there from Rooney, as well as Ronnie. Henry says, only Memphis says Derrick Henry. Chig from Jacob. Derrick Henry 22 from Deborah. Autry from John. The unit, Tierre Tart from KG. The offensive line from Brooke. So Roger McCreary coming in there. I'm looking for some different ones as Eric comes in with Roger McCreary. So
I see one. Outlast says Dylan Cole. Mike Corbo says Dylan Cole. Hey, look, I don't think Dylan Cole needs to win this thing, but I do think Dylan Cole needs some credit because he led the team with 8 tackles and had 5 solo tackles. He had a big tackle for loss on Jonathan Taylor, and I thought Dylan Cole played his best football today as a Titan. So I do think Dylan Cole deserves some recognition. But, Zach, I think I'm going to have to go with one man, and that's the former Indianapolis Colt, Danico Autry. I think if there was a game ball to give out, which is kind of like laying down the law, but a physical game ball of physical dominance over your opponent, Danico Autry, again, just punished his former team for letting him go in their own house. He had 2 sacks yesterday. One of them forced a fumble that allowed the Titans to get up 7-0, and the other sack forced him into deep field goal range where their kicker went wide left, never had a chance. Danico Autry, player of the game, he laid down the law because he was an absolute freak and an absolute beast with what he did. 2 sacks in that game. He's now got 3 sacks on the season, and they came in big, timely moments. I think Danico Autry gets my laying down the law.
Yeah, I thought Chig was a good selection because of what you said. How many plays did he make? 13 plays?
13 snaps on offense for Chig Okonkwo.
That's ridiculous to impact the game like that and catch the game-sealing catch right on 3rd down. But I've got to go with the game wrecker. And right next to Danico Autry, you got Pop-Tart. I think the chat got this right. This is Tierre Tart. He single-handedly made the play. Nobody helped him. Like, he popped the ball up just like a toaster pops a Pop-Tart up. He grabbed that Pop-Tart, and this is the good type of Pop-Tart. The best Pop-Tart is brown sugar cinnamon with icing on top. And if you've ever done this in college when you don't have a lot of money and you can't go to Dairy Queen or Baskin Robbins, you just put a scoop of vanilla ice cream on there, a la mode, and all of a sudden you got a prison dessert. That's the type of Pop-Tart that Tierre Tart made the play single-handedly. I think that it obviously influenced the game. It affected the game, and he's on defense. I can't give the laying down the law to the offense because the offense got blanked in 2 quarters of play, the most important 2 quarters of play, the 3rd and 4th quarter. So my laying down the law presented by Hughes and Coleman has got to go to Tierre Tart.
I think Pop-Tart rankings. 1, I agree with you, brown sugar cinnamon. 3, I think the double chocolate fudge, because if you get that chocolate fudge in the inside to the perfect level of melt, it's really hard to beat. 3, wild berry. No, 4 Tierre Tart, then 4 is wild berry. So I would go 1 brown sugar cinnamon, 2 fudge, 3 Tierre Tart, 4 wild berry.
Yeah, I'm anti-berry. I think strawberry is trash, and that's like
wild
their
berry.
main Pop-Tart.
Wild berry is the purple one. It's the purple.
I don't like berry. I like real berry because they're probably not real. I go sweets. So I don't get this a lot. I think s'more has got to be in there some way, somehow,
s'mores
because
Pop-Tarts.
s'more is not going to be better than an actual s'more. But just like you said with that fudge, if you get it at the right consistency, that's a good one. But number 1 is brown sugar cinnamon with icing on top, it's dominant.
Damn it.
And
I think s'mores needs to be above wild berry.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
Berries? No, you buy real fruit for berry.
But wild berry with the purple frosting and then you have like the light blue swirl is pretty good though.
No, I know. I'm anti-berry Pop-Tarts. I like chocolate. I like
Now, here's what my my fat ass did when I was a kid. I would put butter on my
We all did. We all did.
Yeah, I hope we all did, so I don't feel bad about myself. Put butter on top of my fudge Pop-Tart and not toast it, but throw it in the microwave for like 5-10 seconds.
Oh yeah, when America got to toaster ovens, what a game changer. I remember when my mom got, I think it was for Christmas or something, got the toaster oven. Oh my gosh, that was big time. Because it was, again, it's a mini oven. You can do so many more things than just pop it in the toaster.
Yeah.
That's a damn good thing for the countertop.
Yeah, I did say I did graduate at one point in time from Pop-Tarts to toaster strudels. Toaster strudels were better.
Yes,
but again,
no doubt about it.
But you didn't. It's like Pop-Tart was the gateway drug to toaster strudel. Like you didn't just jump in the toaster strudels. You had to go through Pop-Tarts first.
Is elevated, right? It's the elevated pizza instead of Papa John's. The toaster strudel, they brought apple in there. And once apple got involved, game over. Game over. And then what you do, you'd get greedy sometimes and you'd take an extra icing and it would mess somebody up later on down the road because all they have is one.
You'd steal your sister's future icing for yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'd probably make sure that I ate them all eventually, right? So they're all right. But yeah, that extra icing was huge. If you got double icing on one of those apple toaster strudels, I mean, that might as well be gourmet dessert.
That's right. That's right. All right. We'll get back to football and off of dessert breakfast here in a second as kids. But all right. So, because people were bringing up, we're talking about Danico Autry. Danico Autry has 3 sacks this season. He is tied for 14th in the NFL. And then how about this? How about Rashad Weaver? 4 sacks in 4 games. He is tied for 4th in the NFL, only behind Alex Highsmith, who has 5.5, Khalil Mack, who has 5, and Rashawn Gary also has 5. But the Titans front without Harold Landry and with Bud Dupree missing a lot of time here has been playing very, very well. And Jeffrey Simmons is still out there making things happen. Jeffrey Simmons allows a lot of other guys to make plays. So a really good defensive front that came up big in key moments the last 2 weeks to get the Titans at 2-2.
And Denise is right. Weaver is stepping up. Weaver has got a tough situation because when this man started training camp, he was going to be a backup. He was going to be a role player. He was just going to be in there when Harold Landry, which typically doesn't need a blow, needed a blow. Now all of a sudden he's gone. Bud Dupree has a hurt hip. I'll say this. I wouldn't be surprised if Bud Dupree goes on IR and they sit him down for 4 weeks. Because when you re-injure something, they're going to take their time with it. I don't know that. There's no inside information.
Let's think about this though too. Yeah. You're just kind of your guess. So 4 weeks, 4 games is what it is on IR, but that would include the bye week. So that would give Bud Dupree an extra week of rest. So that means he wouldn't be eligible to be back until the Broncos game in early November. So he would miss some big games, against the Colts.
That doesn't count as a week?
No, the bye week does not count. It's 4 games, not 4 weeks.
That is one thing I don't like.
I don't either.
I think it should count.
Because last year we had the same situation with Bud Dupree and A.J. Brown, who were both on IR simultaneously, and the bye week happened. So it was, the bye week does not count for one. It's 4 games, which is stupid.
I don't like that.
Yeah, but
that's something that the NFL needs to change.
I don't think you can afford to put Bud Dupree on IR. I think what you have to do is
you can't afford him playing a half a quarter.
No, I understand. I think you hope Ola gets back, and then Bud Dupree maybe doesn't play against Washington, and then you see if Bud Dupree can get healthy after the bye week because you host the Colts then. So I think that's a big deal.
And this is a topic for and I wrote down a topic that I really want to hear the chat's opinion on later this week.
Okay.
But on another note, who the hell is Monty Rice? Like, we have no clue. Not a clue. Like, I don't know if he's good, bad, indifferent.
I think he can be good. I think he showed good things at times as a rookie last year. But again, he's coming off of some type of mysterious Achilles injury that happened nobody knew about it until he showed up on the PUP for training camp. So he never practiced in training camp. Now, I did see he was doing some warm-up workout type stuff on the field pregame in Indy. Teron Davenport had a video of him doing some, stuff like that for inactive players. But I think Monty Rice, as a third-round linebacker out of Georgia, I think he could potentially be a starter next year.
Starter?
No. Yeah, well, if depending on, it could be a starter this year if he comes back and Cunningham.
This year's different than next year, but next year, no way.
What's wrong? What's wrong with that? What do you not like about him? What have you seen from Monty Rice that makes you out on him?
I haven't seen enough of Monty Rice to make me in on him. Like,
all right, go watch. I'll tell you.
That's what I'm saying is role playing correct. I think he's got a tall task. He can prove himself this year, but I think it's too early in the game to say something like that.
No, I think he was going to be. I think before his Achilles injury, you roll the end of this year with David Long, Zach Cunningham, and Monty Rice. That's a strength of your defense with those three guys. Now, Monty Rice had an Achilles injury, so we don't know what's going on. Zach Cunningham had a bad start to the season and now is hurt. And Brent saying Monty Rice as a starter is really stretching it. Go watch last year's game at Indy. Go watch it and watch Monty Rice be a beast. Go watch who was stuffing Jonathan Taylor a year ago on Halloween at Lucas Oil Stadium. Go watch Monty Rice's performance last year at Indy as a rookie. Seriously, he's got really good potential. We just haven't seen enough because he was a rookie backup last year and he's been hurt ever since. I think he's a good player.
Hurt ever since is a key thing for me.
Well,
I can give him opportunity if you've been hurt ever since.
Well, he's been hurt. He finished the year last year. I'm just saying, and aside saying one game, Austin, guys, you want a little bit of information? Go watch him. He was a backup last year behind Jayon Brown, David Long, and Rashaan Evans and played really good in spots. I'll tell you what the Titans think about him. That in the last game of the season and in the playoff game, Rashaan Evans and Jayon Brown were both inactive for Monty Rice to be active. That's something you should know. I like Monty Rice when he's healthy. He just hasn't been healthy in a while. That's not Monty Rice's fault. Yeah.
It's a little early to say things like that.
Yeah. I just think he's a good player. We're missing, we just haven't seen him in a long time to remember he is a good player. He's a good player. A to Z Sports here live on this Monday. It is time for Monday Ask Me Anything. But Zach, tell us everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Yeah, Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your perfect ride. Your make and model that you have just got to go find at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. It could be the Palisade full-size SUV with third-row seating. It could be the Sonata four-door sedan that dominates the streets with great fuel efficiency. Maybe it's the smaller SUV like the Tucson or Santa Fe. They've got it. You've just got to go find it. It's right there at Wilson County Hyundai. Family-owned and operated. Quick trip down I-40 exit 236. Wilson County Hyundai has been trusted here by A to Z Sports. It can be trusted by you. Great pricing and great vehicles at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Download the BetMGM app. Use our code when you sign up, and you get a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000. That's a $1,000 free bet, or risk-free bet, on pro football when you do sign up. Also, existing users, you guys can get first touchdown score insurance on football games this season in pro football as well. So visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualifications and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued with knowledgeable for bets or credit. For bets expire in 7 days. For problem game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Zach, what card do you have for us today for our Monday Ask Me Anything topic?
Yeah, from the deck of cards.
Yeah.
This is one that everybody has been affected by. but not many people talk about. And I don't know if there's an answer or not. My gut says that there should be an answer, but I don't know it. So maybe somebody can tell us. Here we go. Whatever happened to an E grade? We have A, B, C, D, and F, but no D, or excuse me, but no E. Why is that? Why is there not an E grade? You know, I've recognized it, but I've never really thought about it, and I have no idea why.
So I think it's because E could also, there's a spot in schooling before you get to the A, B, C, D, F, where E is for excellent or some type of effort. Yeah, in elementary school, there you go. Justin, E was for behavioral purposes in elementary school. I knew it was used for some type of behavior.
Oh, so it's a different grade.
Yes, it's a different scale, but you can't have E on both. It's kindergarten. Yes, Valentino says kindergarten.
For excellent in first and second grade.
Yeah, let's see. I remember in elementary school we had the grades E and S after a couple other letters.
Orlando, this is something I've never heard. Orlando says used E as grades in public school all 12 years, but it was in Alabama, so there's that.
Yeah. I think it's I do think it was a behavior scale. Like you have like in super early elementary school, you have like obviously your academic scale and then your behavior.
This I see is G equal good, S equals satisfactory, NI needs improvement, U equals unsatisfactory.
Yeah, and I remember E being X. Yes, like something like that. Something behavioral. Like I do remember that. Yes, as David says, excellent, good, satisfactory, not satisfactory.
I did not know that. That's one of the reasons why I pulled this card, but that's why you rely on the chat. Sometimes they got the answers.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if they use it anymore. And Eric says an example is, plays well with others type of thing, right?
Plays.
Jerome says E was a conduct grade in Tennessee. So personal conduct.
Personal conduct
they're out there
on the offense.
15-yard penalties. Susan not sharing her crayons. So I think that's what it is. Yeah, behavior.
They need to have those in older grades now with this generation with TikTok and all the other, because I was actually having a couple of conversations over the weekend about this. When we went back in our day, though, when you didn't really have cell phones when you were going in elementary school and grade school, bullying is going to happen everywhere. It is just a part of life. It is always going to happen. But the next level of cyberbullying is so hard to monitor, I feel, for teachers, counselors, and parents because of Snapchat. Well, it's gone away. You've already been bullied. There is no trace of evidence because of Snapchat. And that's a huge part of, I feel like, those type of young people's lives. And how do you defend against that? I mean, you really can't as a parent, right? Somebody could be cyberbullied and just getting destroyed online, and you can't take your kid off of them because then they're the freak, right? And that probably is going to create more bullying. So look, you and I both don't have kids, but it does make me think, like, as future kids, whenever it happens, like, that's a scary situation because God knows what it's going to be like in 2045 or 2035 or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard out there to be a kid. Like, seriously, like there's a lot of stuff that, and I feel like we are now old enough to say, man, kids have it tough. There's a lot of stuff that we didn't have to deal with. Like, yeah, I feel like my parents told me that at one point in time.
Right, but they have awesome graphics on PlayStation 5 while we were playing on,
N64. Yeah. And this thing called GameCube. That sucked.
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast was pretty cool, though. Dreamcast was cool. All right, guys. Have a great Monday show. Hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their Monday. Mike Vrabel does speak to the media at noon today. So go check out that. Sam Phelan will be covering it for A to Z Sports, and subscribe to our YouTube page for some reaction to Mike Vrabel and his press conference at noon today. We'll see if we get any updates from Traylon Burks or other injuries like Bud Dupree and so on and so forth. Plus, Buck Rising tonight with A to Z Sports Primetime at 8 p.m. Central. So he'll see you guys then. We'll see you guys tomorrow on a Tuesday. Be good. Appreciate it as always. Thanks.